As long as I'm, man, it's perfect. The Christian thing. As long as I'm good and I'm not harming anybody, the Lord's going to save me. But that's not what it is. Your brother's being killed and beaten, how are you not going to do something? The black brothers, man, and I say this for me. Every time I see a video and I see a cop pull over a black brother and he's getting killed and beaten and, being, man, I was going to use the word harassed, but it's beyond harassment. Let me tell you something. That hits my spirit. That hits my soul. I saw that movie, What They Think About Us, about the Central Park 5. And let me tell you something. That's a wake-up call for everybody in the world, because we already know it here in the UPK, but a wake-up call for the people in the world that the reality is that America hates black people, man. America hates Hispanic people and Native American Indian people. And us, as black Hispanics and Native American Indians, we need to start realizing that it's time that we come together and we separate from what's happening to us. Man, that's your brother out there being killed. That's your sister out there being murdered. That's your brother and sister and your kids being separated at the detention centers all across America. Right. Because what your brother goes through, you're going through. Right. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Oscar Ward.
Right, precept.
Read that precept for me.
Mark 12:31. And the second is like, namely this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Man, that's a perfect precept. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as yourself. And you know why the Lord said thy neighbor? Because Israel, the 12 tribes, we all lived close to each other. We were all neighbors. Issachar lived close to Zebulun. Zebulun lived close to Judah. And you know what? We all live close to each other. Right. Just like today. Today, Zebulun lives right next door to me. Right. Salvadoranian lives next door to me. Judah lives right next door to me. In my backyard, the next house behind me is a black man. He's a Judite. You know what I'm saying? And most likely, one of these Judites is Native American Indian, and he don't even know it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we live right there between each other. We live amongst each other. And let me tell you something. We say hi to each other. When I go out there, that Salvadoranian brother, he says hi to me. That Judite brother, man, he says hi to me. But let me tell you something. I live amongst white people too. The white people don't say nothing to me. They do not say hi to me. They do not say hi to my family. They get in their car, drive in, drive out daily, and I don't even know who they are. Yet the black man that lives behind me, every time I see him, he waves to me and says, "What's up?" The Salvadoranian man talks to me. I have a conversation with him. The Mexican man, he tells me about himself. That precept lets us know that in our spirit, in our hearts, we've always known that we are those people. Right. Go ahead, continue reading.
I was going to say this too, if I could real quick. I remember General Hyman said, like, the black man's problems are the Hispanic man's problems. Right. I mean, whatever problems they go through is our problem. So if black people have a problem of police brutality, that's the Mexican man's problem too. Right. If the Mexicans are being deported and we're getting put in immigration detention centers, that's the black man's problem too. Right. Whatever the Salvadoranians are going through is what we're going through. Whatever the Brazilians are going through is what the Mexicans are going through. We got to see each other's problems, man, and understand that we're both going through the same thing. We can't be like, oh, that police brutality is only a black thing. That's not happening to us. Right. We gotta understand those are our brothers right there, man, and whatever happens to them is happening to us. Understand? Because we the same people.
And let me tell you something. That's a good point, because you know what happens is that when we see this happen to us, when I get to know my black brother that lives behind me, when I get to know his kids, when I get to know his family, if I see something happen to his kids or his family, man, you know what? I'm gonna know who that brother is, and I'm not gonna stand around and let that happen. I'm gonna say something. I'm going to tell my brother, hey, man, you know what? Your kid, man, just got pulled over. Or your kid's being harassed. Or something's happening, you know. I'm going to communicate to my brother. And that's a perfect precept because what does that precept say?
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
And what is love? Love is an action word. Love means I'm going to do something to help my brother, to help my sister in his time of need. Go ahead.
You got another precept, sir?
Read.
For what is love? 1 John 5:3.
What is love?
For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments.
Con.
And his commandments are not grievous.
Right, there you go. Love is an action. It's not a feeling, it's not an emotion.
Right.
Understand? Love is something that you do.
Right.
Not the way you feel. You understand? It's one thing to say something, but it's another thing to actually do it.
Right.
You understand? And that's what the Most High wants. A God doesn't care about how you feel; He cares about what you do. You understand? And what we got to do as blacks and Hispanics, we got to love one another, man. And how do we love one another? By looking out for each other, caring for one another.
Right.
Stop stealing from each other. Stop hating each other. You understand? Stop murdering each other on the street. Stop having sex with each other's women. You understand? That we stop doing that, man. We're showing real love to one another.
Right.
You understand? And when we do these things to each other, it's because we have hatred towards each other. You understand? And that hatred comes from white supremacy. It comes from the white man because the white man taught us how to do these things to each other.
Right.
You understand? Gang violence comes from the white man. Drug dealing comes from the white man. You understand? Adultery or homosexuality comes from the white man. That's what the white man taught us to do. You understand? We gotta learn to love one another, man. You understand? Love is an action. Stop doing these things, and it shows our brotherly love to each other. You understand? Go ahead, CHAAZAQ.
Con, and you know what's important with that is that you know what we're fighting about who's Israel and who's not Israel, but we ain't fighting about stopping the black man from being gay. We're not fighting against the Mexican from marrying into other nations that hate them. We're over here fighting about nonsense. We're over here seeing differences that have nothing to do with us. Today in our time here in the 2019, the problem is that black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are being treated as second-class citizens. And we need to understand that we're all the same. And the way that we're being treated is because there is a nation of people that hate us. And if these people hate us, then what's the best thing for us to do is unite and come together and solve this problem first between us. What's the problem between us? That we have hate between us. That the black man hates the Mexican hates the Native Indian hates the Mexican, and we have this separation. But if we look into history, we understand that there was a point in history when the Native American Indian would accept the black man into his tribes because he knew that he had a common enemy. If we look into history, we see that the Mexican people were helping black people to flee America, to be free in a country where they could once again live again. And the Mexican did that. You know what I'm saying? For the black man. And the black man and the Chicano man in the 60s, the Black Panthers and the Brown Berets decided, you know what? We're both being oppressed. We're both being destroyed. We're both going through this problem. And you know what they said? Let's unite. Let's be one. Let's raise a voice as a community and help this problem between us. And they ended that war. But you know what? They infiltrated us and separated us and destroyed us. And today, the FBI infiltrated the FBI infiltrated the Black Panthers. Right. The CIA infiltrated the Brown Berets. The FBI, COINTEL, infiltrated the Puerto Rican movement, the Native American Indian. You know what the problem is today? That today we have Mexicans and black people infiltrating into our group, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, and separating us. We don't need the white man to separate us because we got our own people trying to separate us. We got our own people spreading lies and rumors and hate and dissent between our own people. Go ahead.
So like if I could, the only thing about what you're saying is super heavy. The only thing that I can say about it is that they cannot infiltrate the UPK.
Khan.
The ISUPK is the one thing that is not, you cannot infiltrate it. So if you for your people and you want to be for your people, you know what I'm saying, then you got to get into the UPK, because if you outside of the UPK, then you could get infiltrated.
Khan.
You know what I'm saying? Inside the UPK, you will not get infiltrated, meaning that you will get orders from within to not trust a certain person, or that then once you come in here, then you'll know who to trust and who you won't trust, and therefore you will not be infiltrated once you come in here. The only problem is that brothers still think that they could be in the truth without being in the UPK. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is going to set you free. That's what the Bible says. You know what I'm saying? So once you come in here and you get up in this truth, then you'll know what's going to set you free and what can't set you free.
And Khan, and Yaika, Khan, you know what? America will not teach you Chicano history. And America won't teach you Black American history. And America won't teach you the Native American history. But today we got our own groups, our own Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian groups that won't teach us our history. And what's our history? That we are a special people. Right. That we come from the descendants of Israel, right, of Jacob. And they won't tell you, you know what the problem is today? That a lot of these groups out there won't tell you that the truth came out in 1969.
Right.
They won't tell you that the truth started in the ISUPK. They won't tell you that the truth was brought forth and given to Commanding General Yohana. He was the only one out of everybody from the original group to come out and say, you know what? I'm going to keep what was taught, the truth, and I'm going to keep it alive. And now you got all these fake groups, all these other so-called camps coming out and bringing out what they think is right. Don't think what's right. The Lord had given His truth to a certain people, and those people there, the only one left was Commanding General Yohana. He never dropped his sword.
Right.
The reason that we're in this truth, man, the reason why I'm here in this truth, right here, right now, is because when I did my research, and let me tell you something, I do not walk blindly. Before you get me into something, I want to know. I want to know what it is. And I came in here and I realized that right here is where the truth is at. Don't nobody else have the truth. Everybody else is second. Everybody else is just trying to pick up where they left off. But you know where they left off? They left off in the ISUPK. Pick it up here. Pick it up where you left it off. You started here. You left it off here. You need to pick it up right here. You ready? Give me that precept.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 15. Therefore, brethren, stand fast.
Stand what?
Fast.
Let me tell you, you need to stand fast. You know what stand fast is? That you don't come into the UPK and then decide to go do something else. That you don't come into the UPK and decide, well, I don't no longer want to do this work. I have more important things to do. That you come into the UPK and this comes first. You cannot take your life before the life of all your brothers and sisters. Coming into the UPK is not coming into the UPK. Coming into the UPK is coming in to save your brothers and sisters, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. What's more important than saving the life of your people? Continue reading.
And hold the traditions which ye have been taught, whether by word or our epistle.
I said, hold on to the traditions that you've been taught, right? And that's what Commander Yohana did. He held on to what was taught to him by the seven heads. You understand? While everybody left and started doing what? They started teaching new things.
God.
Like some started teaching what? That it was okay to rape.
Right.
Some started teaching that you could only have one wife.
God.
Some of them actually became cops.
God.
And still try to teach blacks and Hispanics were Israelites. You understand? Some of them started teaching that all nations can be saved. Everybody started teaching new doctrine when Commander Yohana held on what was taught to him by the 7 heads and never changed. You understand? The way the ISUPK is right now is the way it was back then. Never changed.
Right.
You understand? So with that being said, man, this is the home of the truth and the only truth. Everything else is what? Christianity.
God.
You understand? Everything else is Catholicism. You understand? This is the only truth right here, man. You understand? That's what you were saying, right? Because hold on to the traditions of your fathers, man. That's what Commander Jerry Yohana did. He held on to the truth. He held on to the doctrine and never changed it up. That's why we're the truth. Since 1969, UPK has always been the home of the truth. You can get Ephesians 4:4. Go ahead,
God, and what is this? What is this truth that we talk about? Man, it's only loving your brothers and sisters. It's only doing the work. This work that I'm doing here today is what we're talking about. All we're doing is talking about, you know what, bringing back Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. What's more important than that? Nothing is more important than bringing back our people. Why? Because our people are being killed. Our people are being murdered. Our people are being robbed and destroyed. Our people, you know what, I'd like to say our people still live in the ghetto, but our ghettos are being gentrified. They're taking us even out of the ghettos and pushing us into the desert. We're no longer going to live in ghettos. We're going to live in the desert. That's what's going to happen to us. I'm telling you because I live in California. And my areas, my Chicano areas, my Hispanic areas are finding themselves being gentrified and being pushed into the deserts of California. That's what's going to happen to Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. You know who we're going to join? We're going to join our brothers, the Native American Indians, who live on reservations, on deserts. That's what's going to happen to the Black and the Hispanic. We ain't no far from that happening to us. Rent is becoming ridiculously expensive. You know why it's becoming ridiculously expensive? Because they don't want us in their neighborhoods. That's why it becomes ridiculously expensive. Because they know if they raise the rent, you got to move out. You know what I'm saying? And who knows what they got going on with the white folks? Because the white folks live comfortably. They ain't got no problem with this. We do. We're the ones who are struggling to keep our families together.
Right.
We're the ones that are struggling to pay a rent, to pay bills, to pay any kind. You know what? My neighborhood, Lincoln Heights. My neighborhood, Highland Park. My neighborhood, Boyle Heights. My neighborhood, East LA. All my areas, man, they're being gentrified. We no longer see the Hispanic communities. Now we're seeing these white communities, these Asian communities. Now we're seeing where we walk down the street and all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night and we're seeing white people walk at night. We're like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Where'd that come from? Why? Because they're pushing us out of our neighborhoods.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. It was prevalent in the 60s where they had signs that said, we want our communities to be white.
Right.
And that's what's going on today. They don't want Mexicans in our communities. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say this too. Like with them gentrifying our neighborhoods, now we can't even do the things that we usually do. Like Black and Hispanic people want to be loud, bump music all day, all night, you know what I mean? Kick it, chill.
Damn right.
And what happens now that you got white people living in the neighborhood? They call the cops.
Right.
Now they're calling the cops, we're getting hugged, we're getting pulled over, getting arrested just because we do the things that we want to do.
Right.
When the white man want to just be boring.
Right.
You know what I mean, we're not a boring. Black and Hispanic people aren't boring.
Right. Damn
You know
right.
what I mean, like Hispanic people, we out here in Lolos and you know what I mean, Coronas, you know, corridos and all that. You know what I mean, we getting it in.
Right.
And the white man have a problem with that, man, and want to call the cops because we being Mexican, man. We being Hispanic.
Being
That's
Mexican,
what's wrong with gentrification, man. Now you got white folks who want to move to South Central, move to the west side of Pasadena. You know what I mean? Want to move to East LA, and they can't keep up with us. They can't do the things that we do. And now we're getting arrested, and we're getting pulled over, and getting thrown in jail because of these white folks, man.
Right.
And that's why the white man's the devil. You understand? That's why the white man's the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. Go ahead, Oscar Ward.
I was gonna add to that, sir, if I could. That just shows you that white people are uncivilized. White people can't live amongst other people who actually have, you know, normal people like us. Like you were saying, we go outside, we can have a little barbecue, we play music, we invite our family over. They can't do that, you know. So that to them it's offensive, So that's why, just touching up on what you said.
No, yeah, what you're saying is right. That's why, we got the first thing we gotta do is just separate.
Right.
You understand? That's what we started now in the UPK, is separating ourselves from the other nations, specifically the so-called white man. You understand? Black and Hispanic people gotta learn to love one another and deal with one another, and live amongst one another.
Right.
No matter what problem we have, no matter what issues we had, you understand? We gotta forgive each other and move on, man, and learn to deal with each other. You understand? Because you got these white folks who are gentrifying our neighborhoods, and you know what I mean, and oppressing us, killing us, murdering us, raping us. You got Donald Trump as a president who hates black and Hispanic people. You ain't got no choice if you're black and Hispanic. There is no choice but for us to learn to love one another, man, and deal with each other. You understand? You don't have no other choice. And in UPK, we're gonna show you how to love each other and how to deal with each other. You know what I mean? Like brothers, like a family, like a nation. We're gonna become a nation again. You understand? And that's what we're doing in the Israelite School UPK.
God, let me tell you something about Mexican people, man. Like, we like to have the loud music. Like, we like to have a whole group of banda people come over and play music for us. Why? Because we celebrate life. You know what I'm saying? Because we slave all week, and you know what? We like to have that feeling of unity. We like to have that feeling of a pleasant thing, of being able to enjoy life. And the way we enjoy life is by sharing it with people that we group with. You know, whether they be black, Hispanic, Native American, Indian. You know, a lot of my parties that I had, man, a lot of black folks come over to my house for parties. You know what I mean? We have barbecues. We have all the brothers come over for the barbecues and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because we enjoy life with everybody together. You know what I mean? So when we do that, we love to share our culture with our brothers and sisters. When we do things, we do it all. They find that like that's something that they don't want to participate in. And when they hear our music, they think that we're too loud, that we're just invading their privacy. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, you know what? They've invaded our privacy. They've come to our country. They've taken our rights. They've taken the way of life that we used to know, and they've implemented their way of life into what we used to know. And now we're forced to live in a condition where we're oppressed, because that is oppression. Right. When your neighbor calls the police because you have music on at 10 o'clock at night, man, I'm being oppressed. Right. You know what I'm saying? When the neighbor calls the police because I got too many people at my barbecue, man, I'm being oppressed. When the neighbor calls because my barbecue smells too much, I'm being oppressed. That's oppression right there. That's oppression of black Hispanics and Native American Indians. When the black man is out there having a good time and they call the cops on him, that's oppression. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Like that one brother who was having a barbecue at the park, and the white lady called the cop on him. God. It makes no sense, because where else can you have a damn barbecue at?
Right.
I understand, like, having it at your house, all that smoke, it shouldn't bother nobody. But I understand a little bit. Even though Esau, he probably didn't do it for that reason. He just did it because he's the devil and he hates black and Hispanics. God. If you're doing it at the park, there's no reason for you to call the cops. That's like, that's the perfect place to have it, because don't nobody live at the park. It's open space. So even at the park, they still call the cops on you. You know what I'm saying?
God. And you know what? The reason why they call the cops, the reason why they do that is because they hate black Hispanics and Native American Indians. Right. You know what? When they see you setting up for a barbecue, right away, hate comes into their mind. Oh, these people are going to have a barbecue. You know what I mean? As soon as they see you preparing, because you're going to have a birthday party, because you're setting up. Mexicans, they set up the white tent. They got tables all up in the front yard. They got the DJ system. They got lights. They're getting ready to do a party, and right away, you know what? They're already getting complaints. Why? Because, they're about to have a party. That's the way we celebrate. That's our culture. They love some of our culture, but they hate us. They want to be like us, but they hate us for who we are. They want to rob us and make a goddamn Taco Bell, but they hate us for selling tacos on the streets. Go ahead, brother. Read that precept.
The book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 2. And they covet fields.
Micah 2 and 10.
Oh, that's a good one though. They what?
And they covered fields.
Man, they covered our fields. Let me tell you something. We go out there, we grow the best fruit. We have the best trees. We have everything. But you know what? They covet us. They want to be like us. They want to have what we have. They want to have our land. They want to have our homes. Let me tell you something. Some of the Mexican homes are beautiful out here. Mexican people, they may have a shack, but with all the plants and their gardening and everything they have, it makes a shack look beautiful. Continue reading.
And take them by violence.
And they take us by violence. You know what? We had the most beautiful place, California, Arizona, Nevada, and Oregon. And you know what they did? They came and saw our homes, saw our lands, and they took us by violence. They came into our homes and robbed, raped, and murdered us and took our property through violence. Go ahead.
And houses, and take them away.
You see, they took our houses, they took our properties, they've taken everything from us. They've come into our country, called us wetbacks, and robbed, raped, and murdered us, and taken everything from us. Today, they live in those houses. The white man that lives in with that white picket fence around, that's my house.
Right.
That's my people's house. That's my people's property. The goddamn Del Monte who owns the property up in Watsonville and grows the blueberries, that's my people's land. Those that are growing the grapes and the vineyards up in Northern California, those are my people's land. That's my people's home. And you took it by violence, by murdering my people, and now you call it your own. Continue reading.
So they oppress a man in his house.
So they oppress us in our own house. Man, they can't see us having a good time. They can't see us gathering together for our birthday parties because the first thing they want to do is call the police on us because we're too loud, because we're having too much of a good time. Man, they robbed, raped, and murdered, took our land, took our homes, took our properties, and they still have the audacity to call the police on us because we want to celebrate our good times. Read.
Okay. Even a man in his heritage.
Even our heritage. Man, they've taken everything from us. Even our heritage. Even this land that was left to us through the Treaty of Hidalgo. That's heritage for me. That's what my ancestors left for my people. But they've robbed me from that too. They've taken even that from me. Today I have nothing. Today I live in a rental. And you know why? Because I'm under the boot of the white man. Right. I got to go to his job to make ends meet, to barely be able to make money to pay my rent. Because why? I'm oppressed. Continue reading. That's
you
it.
Go over that 1-5 after that.
Because why? Because we're oppressed. And let me tell you something. I'm not the only one that oppressed. The black man is oppressed. And the Native American Indian is oppressed. The land that the white man owns today is property of black Hispanics and Native American Indians. Why blacks? Because the black man is descendant of Native American Indian, Mexican, and black. They own this land also. Read.
This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off?
And you know what? They've come and they've robbed us, man. They've robbed us of everything we own. And they've cut us off from everything that should be ours. They sell you water today. They sell you fruit.
Right.
They sell you food. They sell you land. And you know what? You've been cut off from what was yours. That was yours. That was yours, black man. That was yours, Hispanic. That was yours, Native American Indian. They've robbed you of everything, but instead, you prefer to look at these words, hear these words that I'm speaking, and look at this show and say that we're crazy. And say that we're speaking against the white man. Damn right we are. You know why? Because we know that we've been oppressed. We know that we've been robbed. We know that we've been murdered. Right alongside my black brothers and sisters. Continue reading.
Will they not have stolen till they had enough?
And they have stolen, man, and they still don't have enough. You know how they still don't have enough? because they tax you for parking on the street, because they tax you for using the telephone, because they tax you for drinking water, because they tax you for using light, they'll never have enough. They will always be like that. Go ahead, Lahab.
Now I say this too, like you can imagine, like the white man, he stole America, right? He started off on the East Coast, and then he kept pushing to the West. You know what I mean? He stole land from the Native American Indians. Then he stole California, Mexico, and New Mexico, and Texas and Arizona, right, from the Mexicans.
God.
He kept taking and taking, and then he put us in these ghettos, right? South Central, Chicago, New York, right? And we lived there for a little while, but now the white man want that too. Right. Now he want to take South Central from us. Now he want to take Chicago. He want to take New York and Harlem, right? He want to take these neighborhoods that he put us in. And now he want that too. And that goes back to what you were saying. Now they're throwing us in the what? In the damn desert.
Right.
And what's gonna happen after that? He gonna want the desert too.
He's gonna.
Because we're gonna go in the desert, and what's gonna happen? We're gonna hook up that desert. We're gonna prosper in that desert. You know what I mean? We're gonna have life in that desert.
Hell yeah.
And when the white man see that, he gonna take that too.
Right.
The white man ain't never have enough. He always wants more and more and more and more. He'll never have enough. Read that again.
Come on. Would they not have stolen till they had enough?
Like a robber, right? A robber would steal till he has enough. So he'll break into a house and he might take a couple things. He might take, the things that are most valuable in that house and then leave. Go ahead.
If the grape gatherers came to thee.
Stop right there. And the thing is that the white man don't even do that. Like a robber will have more compassion than the so-called white man.
Right.
The white man wants everything inside that home.
Right.
He gonna sweep the whole damn house up and leave you nothing. Right. And that's what the white man did to us, to blacks and Hispanics. He took America. He took Texas and Arizona and California, and then he took our neighborhoods and he took our ghettos. You know what I mean? And threw us out. And now he gonna take more and more and more and more. You know what I mean? That devil will never have enough.
Right.
You understand? That the so-called white man is just like he's hungry to take everything from you. You understand? That's the spirit of the so-called white man. And that's something we have to understand. That devil at your slavery that smiles at you, smiles in your face and shakes your hand, he's seeking to take your life.
Right.
You understand? That devil right here, that devil right there, he'll backstab you and you know what I mean, put a knife in the back of your head. You understand? That's what we gotta learn. You understand? That's why we gotta leave that church too, because the church is teaching you to love him, to accept him. You know what I mean? And we gotta get away from that, man. You know what I mean? You look at your history if you're black and Hispanic and Native American Indian, and you look at what the so-called white man has done to you for the last 500 years, how he's treated you. You understand what he's done to you, and we'll learn that today, and then we'll learn to never trust the so-called white man.
That's right.
You understand? We'll look at that devil man. We'll be like, man, I know what you're about. I know what you've done. You know what I mean? I could deal with you on a professional level,
right?
But outside of here, I know you're the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of.
Damn right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what we gotta learn, man. You understand?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Zach.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something for Hispanic people, man, especially for Hispanic people, because, Hispanic people are my brothers, but tienes que entender that our ancestors did not settle for less. Our ancestors who went out and fought against the Spaniard, they fought to the death. You know what I'm saying? They didn't go out making little groups for themselves. They didn't go out I'm gonna let this slide, let that slide. No way, man. They fought to the death. You know what? It's a famous word known in Mexico. It's called valientes throughout all of Latin America. Los valientes. The Mexican people are valientes. We fight because you know what? We refuse, Zapata's words, we refuse to live on our knees and prefer to die on our feet. And that's the situation we're living in today. We're not going to die on our knees. We ain't going to die mediocre. We're going to go out and we're going to go out when we take this to the street and stand up for our brothers and sisters that are being oppressed. Because you know what? We would never settle for anything less. Once again, the famous words, I prefer to die on my feet than live on my knees. Isn't that the way we should be? We come from a line of people, Hispanics, man, we come from a line of people that have always stood up for the rights and for the well-being and for the advancement of our people. You know, they didn't know it, but the advancement of our people has been Israel. It has always been black, Hispanic, Native American Indians. You know, Zapata was from Chiapas. He was from an area where it was dark-skinned black people. That's where he was from. He was from that area over there. He was from the area where everybody was dark. Let me tell you something. He wasn't the only one. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of people that have come from an area where you think about it, you know, these people have stood up for all colored races. They weren't looking at, he was lighter skinned, he was darker skinned, he was black, he was this, he was that. Never. They spoke up for all indigenous people, for all the dark, the light, the brown, all of us as one. And we had one common enemy, and that was the white man. And they all knew that was our common enemy. They fought against the French, the Spaniard, the American, the British. They fought against these people because they knew those were our enemies. Anybody else who thinks different is because they have no knowledge of the history of your people. And let me tell you something. That's the difference in the ISUPK and all these other groups. Here in the ISUPK, we have the knowledge of our people. We have the knowledge of the Hispanic people. We have the knowledge of people like I'm gonna name somebody that no other goddamn fake Israelite group will know. Rubén Jaramillo. We are like Rubén Jaramillo. You know why the other groups don't know Rubén Jaramillo? You know what? You should go and ask whatever group you're with. Hey, brother, you know about Rubén Jaramillo? And they're going to tell you, well, let me get back to you on it while I research it on the Google. But you know what? Here in the ISUPK, we're bringing in brothers just like me who understand our history, who know who we are, and who stand up for black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians because it's what we have to do. And just like that brother Rubén Jaramillo, we stand for those that are murdered, robbed, raped, and oppressed.
Right.
Because that brother right there did exactly that. He stood up and gave not only his life. Rubén Jaramillo didn't only give his life. His whole family was murdered. His children were murdered. His daughters were murdered. His wife was murdered. Why? Because he loved his people. And that's the spirit of the Lord. That's the spirit of Christ. Christ died for his people. And us Hispanics, here in the ISUPK, will die for our people. Ain't no other group gonna do that. We're the only organization that if my brother is like that, I'm like that too. If my brother's gonna cry, I'm gonna cry with him. If my brother loses a son, I lost a son. If my brother gained a son, I gained a son. If my brother has been upholded and pushed up, then I've been pushed up also. That's the way it should be. That's what we learn in brotherhood, because that's what we are. We're brothers and sisters here. If my sister's going through some problems, I'm going through some problems. You know what I'm saying? And we've got to understand that all of us are a nation. We're all one people. And if my brother's going through something, I'm going through something. If my brother's going to come to California, I got a house for that brother. I got a place for him to sleep. I just met that brother. But it don't matter. He's in the ISUPK. He's a brother of mine. He has a place to sleep. Because you know why? There's a trust in us. There's a brotherhood in us. There is something that holds us together that tells me this brother chose this school. That means that brother is solid. This brother believes in the ISUPK, then he believes in the Lord. And I would never doubt him 1 second. Let me tell you something, man. I would never have any brother from any other place stay at my house. Because even though you may be my brother, you ain't right. Because you over there following the doctrine that's being made up by another individual that's just not 100%. That's why here in the ISUPK, we ain't affiliated with any other group. And reason why? Because we understand that right here is the home of the truth. And right here is where we gotta stand. You know, we gotta stand firm and stand tall and help our black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian brothers out of this situation that we're in today. And what's that situation? We're coming out of oppression.
Right.
We're about to see a new life. The Lord's about to come back and pick up his people. And our job is to wake up the dead. Who's the dead? Those that are on drugs. Those that are being, you know what, pushed into gangs. Those that are what? Those that are being sleeping on the street. Those that find no place to go.
Right.
We're that refuge, the ISUPK. We are that refuge. Right here is the home where you come and become a new person. Get off that weed, man. You know what I mean? Get off that nonsense of dealing drugs and killing your brothers and sisters. Get off that, man. Right here is where you come back to find yourself helping. You know what? You just ain't nobody. I'll tell you who's a nobody. You know who's a nobody? That supervisor at your job who thinks that because he drives a new car, he's a somebody.
Right.
That supervisor at your job who thinks that because he has that position, he's better than you.
Right.
That supervisor, that manager who at your job thinks that he has a better paying job than you, that's the nobody right there. I'll tell you who's a somebody. That person who doesn't care what situation he is. The person who cares that his brother and sister is being oppressed. That person who cares that black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians have a better way of life in the ISUPK.
Right.
That brother who thinks that, you know what's more important than the way I am is that my brothers and sisters come and be saved. That's what's more important. You know what's more important to me? That I go out and I help rescue my black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian brothers and sisters, because they're going through hell, and they've been going through hell for 600 years.
Right.
And if you ain't considering that, it's because in reality, man, you just ain't that brother and sister. You brainwashed, you colonized by the ways of America, and you haven't realized that what you're living in is a dream. And that dream isn't your dream. That dream is a white man's dream. And the dream they had is that they would find a place where they would take for their own. And America was that place. And for everybody else, it became a nightmare. It became a nightmare for the black man, the Hispanic man, and the Native American Indian man. And if you look at the 600 years of oppression, 500 years of oppression, 400 years of oppression, you'll understand that what I'm talking about is the nightmare that black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians have been living to this day.
Right. And the thing is that we got to wake up out of that sleep. You understand? Right now we asleep. Like the Christian church mainly has black and Hispanic people asleep. And then you got like the music industry, the movie industry. Everything is keeping us asleep, keeping us from waking up to our true identity. You understand? There's a reason why they have us that way. There's a reason why they don't want us to wake up. Because, you know, the so-called white men know when we wake up, man, and we wake up to our identity, and we wake up, we know that we God's chosen people.
Right.
They know that their end is going to come. That their end is near to an, you know what I mean? It's close. So when we wake up, we find out that we the Lord's chosen people, and we come back to God's statutes and commandments, the Lord gonna let us rise up again. The same way it happened in Egypt, we'll rise up, and the Egyptians will come down. Right. The white man will come down. His society and his government, his army will come down. Right. And you're gonna have a bunch of niggas and spicks and beaners rising up. You know what I mean? Those people that Donald Trump hates, those people that he's throwing in those detention centers, and those brothers that he's throwing in prison, those brothers right there are gonna rise up. You understand, with the spirit of Christ. And then those brothers, those people that Donald Trump hates are going to rule over so-called white people. You understand? Those brothers that are in the detention centers, they're the ones that the Lord's going to raise up, man. And they're going to be in rulership and in authority. And the white man going to have to say yes, sir, to them. You understand? The white man going to say yes, sir, to a so-called Hispanic man, to a so-called black man. You understand? Once we let go of homosexuality, Once we let go of Christianity, once we let go of drugs, once we let go of black on black crime and brown on brown crime, you know what I mean? The Lord is going to raise our spirit up, man, and He's going to put us in charge and put us in authority. And that's something that black and Hispanic people have no idea. They've never felt that. A black and Hispanic man has never felt what it's like to be in authority and be empowered. You understand? But the Lord is offering that to you. You understand? The UPK under Commander Hana is showing you how to be in authority and how to be empowered. You understand? With the Spirit of Christ. And that's only by coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments that are in the Bible. You understand? So the only way you're going to come into authority, the only way you're going to be in charge is by coming back to the laws of God. You understand? And letting go of everything that America taught you. Because everything that America taught you is wrong and it's evil in the eyes of God. You understand? Go ahead, Ashkor.
Got a precept, sir.
Go ahead.
Good.
Go ahead.
Revelations chapter 5 verse 10. And has made us unto our God kings and priests.
Go ahead.
And we shall reign on the earth.
And we shall reign in the earth. He made us, the Most High made black and Hispanic people a nation of kings and priests. And we shall what?
Reign on the earth.
And we're going to reign on the earth. We're going to be in rulership. We're going to be empowered. We're not just going to rule over one country. You know what I mean? We're not just going to rule the nation of Israel. We're going to rule over the whole goddamn earth once we come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? So that's what we got to do, man. You got to press that. It's not hard to let go of weed. It's not hard to let go of hoes. It's not hard to let go of the strip club. It's not hard to let go of alcoholism. You understand? That's not a hard thing to do. And we just let that go, man. I'm telling you, that's what the Most High gonna do for us, man. The Most High gonna protect us, man, and we're gonna rule over the so-called white man. Go ahead, CHAAZAQ.
Man, absolutely true. You know, and the thing about that is that before we can come into rulership, the first thing we have to do is understand that we have to come together as a nation. We have to come together as one people. The problem with the black Hispanics and Native American Indians today is that we're choosing to take sides with our own people. And what it is that we are all one people. Black Hispanics and Native American Indians, man, we're all one people. How do you know we're one people? Because we're all being oppressed by the same individual.
Right.
Let me tell you something, man. You know, we come onto this show and we speak about the love for our people, brotherhood. You know, it shouldn't be nothing new. You know, before us, those that came before us, they spoke about that too. A lot of people see us and they think, you know, you guys are speaking nonsense. But you know what? The reality is that because of people like us who decide to wake up and separate ourselves from a nation that oppresses us, the results of it is that your children today are able to graduate. Today, a lot of parents saw their kids graduate. You know, a lot of Mexican people, a lot of black folks, a lot of Native American Indians folks had the how can I say it? Had the right or had the honor, right, of going to the graduation of your daughter, of your son, of your nephew. You were able to go over there and see that. Let me tell you something. You know why you were able to do that? Because in 1965, people like me and my son Lahab and all the brothers and sisters and all the brothers in here fought for your right to do that. Went out there and raised a voice for your kid to go out to be able to get a diploma. Because before that, it was impossible to see that.
Right.
Today, we're out here, Officer Lahab and me and all the other brothers in here, we're out here speaking that you might be able to get a foot into the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
We're out here speaking and raising a voice that you might wake up and realize that this is no game. That the purpose and the reason that we're doing this is because it's going to benefit you as it benefited you in the past.
Right.
To be able to see your children not only separate from those that oppress you, but be able to be in a kingdom that's going to be over these people. That you're going to be able to live freely. That you'll be able to see your kids prosper over those that oppressed you. Because before our people raised a voice, you were a goddamn slave. You were living in oppression. You were living in a way that you couldn't say a goddamn word. You couldn't piss in your own in a place where everybody else pissed. You couldn't ride a bus. You couldn't eat in a restaurant. You couldn't go into a library. It took somebody to raise a voice, and that somebody was a black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian who went out there and raised a voice. And in your country, in Mexico, there was somebody who decided, God damn it, I'm going to die for my people to be able to live in a better condition. Today, me and my brothers here and all the brothers in the ISUPK have decided to go out there and do the same thing. Take a risk of their own life that you might find life. That you might be able to rule in the kingdom and live well. And you know what? More importantly than all, that you might be able to find salvation. That same salvation that your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your mom, your sister, and everybody has kept going to the Catholic and the Christian churches to, because they thought salvation was there. That's not where salvation was at.
Right.
Salvation is right here. We're out here speaking this because we're going to save you from being a whore.
Right.
We're going to save you from being a drug addict. We're going to save you from being some another statistic in the street killed by police because you were in a gang.
Right.
We're going to save you from being a nobody. We're going to bring you into this truth and you're going to live. The Lord's going to see you and He's going to see the work that you're doing and He's going to give you life. You know what? We have life in this room. The Lord has given us life. He's given us something that we have never found in this country. White people are killing themselves because their bank account is down to zero. Because their 401k has been drained. Right. Because their corporation went down. Because their school, people in the school, because their children were being bullied. We will never see that, man. We're a special people. We're the children of the Lord, the black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. Today we raise a voice as soldiers to save our people. We're calling on black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians to, man, leave your life and come into this truth and serve the Lord and serve alongside, side by your brother, the black man, the Hispanic man, the Native American Indian man, and call on your brothers and sisters to find that same life that we're working on. Man, my life will pass away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And on the side of me, a brother will come with the same words that I'm speaking today. And he'll come and he'll call these same people that I'm calling. That we may have 144,000 that we'll call an army to bring destruction to the white man for what he's done to the black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. Oscar Ward, go ahead.
Matthew's, I got a precept I could
read.
Matthew 5.
48.
No, Matthew 5 and 5. Matthew 5 and 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. So I was just gonna say, you know, the ones who are meek today, we're the meek ones here on earth today. We're the ones at the bottom. We're the ones who are, you know, we're not the ones in power. You know what I'm saying? So Christ is saying that we're gonna inherit the earth. He's prophesying that us being the meek ones, we're the ones that are gonna inherit the earth. So when you go to Job, it tells you that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
God.
You know, but the time's gonna come when the meek, which is us, Blacks, Latino, Native Indians, there's gonna come a time where we're gonna reign on the earth.
God,
Right.
God.
And I would say this too, like he's saying the poor people, right? The poor people, the people in the ghetto, you know what I mean? Like we said before, like the blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians, the people that are hated, you know, the ones that Donald Trump hates, those are the people that are gonna get blessed by the Most High.
God.
The people that are rich and in power and authority, your black pastors, your black and Hispanic politicians, they're not gonna get a blessing from the Most High. Those aren't the people that the Most High is looking for. Christ said this, blessed be who? Go ahead.
The blessed are the meek,
Go ahead.
for they shall inherit the earth.
Keep going.
Blessed are they which do hunger.
Which do what?
Hunger.
Which do what?
Hunger.
Which do hunger. You understand? Black and Hispanic people, those Hispanic kids on the border right now. Those
Right.
Hispanic kids in the detention centers. That
Right.
that what?
which do hunger.
Which do hunger. These are people who are hungry, who have no food, who are poor and
Right.
miserable. You understand?
Right.
Black people in the ghetto,
Right.
hungry. Go ahead.
and thirst.
And what?
And thirst.
Who are hunger and thirst, man. Who have no
Right.
life.
Right.
These are people who are poor, no food, no water, no drink, no clothes. Who can that be? That can only be black and Hispanic people right there.
Right.
We are people who hunger, who are thirst. Go ahead.
After righteousness,
Uh-huh.
for they shall be filled.
Go ahead.
Blessed are the merciful,
Uh-huh.
for they shall obtain mercy.
And we gonna obtain mercy from the Most High. You
Uh-huh.
understand? We gonna get that mercy, man, when we come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. The Lord gonna see us, man.
God.
And and you know what I mean. And if we're sincere in serving Him, sincere in serving Christ, and sincere in doing the work of the Lord gonna see us, man, and have mercy on us again, the same way He did it in Egypt. You know what I mean? We cried aloud to the Most High. You understand? We prayed that the Most High will give us justice.
Right.
You know what I mean? That He will save us from our captivity, and the Lord did it. The
Right.
Lord heard our prayers, He heard our cries, and He destroyed the Egyptians.
Right.
And He could do the same thing again. You understand? He gonna do the same thing for black and Hispanic people in America.
Right.
He gonna hear us, man. That's why you need to come in here. You need to run to the UPK, leave that church, man,
Right.
and learn to serve God.
Right.
So He can hear our prayers. He can hear our cries, man.
Right.
And give us justice. If you're tired of your kids getting thrown in the prisons, thrown in the here, man, so the Lord can hear us.
Right.
He can hear our prayers. Go ahead, CHAAZAQ.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And let me tell you something. You know, you may take it for granted, but in reality, we're the soldiers who are going out and doing this work. Because ain't nobody else doing this work like the UPK is doing this work. Across the nation, not only here in California, not only us, but across the nation, we're taking the step to go out there and call our people out of this madness, out of this destruction. And let me tell you, it's happened throughout every century. We've seen it that our ancestors or the people before us, they went out there, man. They died to call our people out. They died, man. They were incarcerated. They gave up their freedom. They gave up their words, man. Come out here, and haven't we learned that these people don't see us as the same? Haven't we learned that they hate us?
You get Ezekiel 33.
We need to come out here and realize that we need to separate from a nation that not only destroys you here in America, but this nation goes into your country. If you're from El Salvador, if you're from Guatemala, if you're from Honduras, if you're from Chile or Venezuela or Brazil or no matter where you're from, South, Central America or Mexico or America, the Chicanos, no matter where you're from, this country has made it its point to go and destroy your people. It's made it a point to go and use you. What do they call it in Mexico? La mano de obra. You have become the mano de obra for a nation that has become rich on not only your natural resources, but your work. They've become rich off of you. They've become rich off of your labor, off of your natural resources, off of your people. And you have been left behind. You have been left in a position where you struggle to survive. They filled your countries with gang violence and what else? War and revolution. And all you have to show for it
is to come to America and try to find a better life. And then you come here en el tren de la muerte, the train of death, and you end up in a country that's incarcerating you and separating your families and hating you. You come into a country where the white man, woman, and child see you as a different person. Go ahead, brother.
So like I said, I have a precept.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 5. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
We labor, we have no rest, man. You know, our people are working 2 jobs, brother. Mexicans work 2 jobs. Mexicans are out there selling that fruit. When you see the corn guy, he ain't working an 8-hour shift. Right. He's working a shift till he's finished everything he has in his thing. Right. The fruit guy, he doesn't work an 8-hour shift. There's not an 8-hour shift with him. There's a shift till he finishes everything that's on his cart.
Right.
The taco guy, till it's finished. There ain't no 8-hour shift for us. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
That's it? You had something?
No, it's like, yeah, did you get 34 and 1?
The book is...
No, you just hold on to that. Go ahead. No, keep on.
Oh, okay. So we don't have Mexicans don't have an 8-hour shift. We don't know what an 8-hour shift is. We know what a shift to survive is. That's what we know. A shift to survive. A shift that'll make us money to feed our families. To be able to, you know what? Put food on our table. You got that precept? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Read that precept.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel.
Say it again. Prophesy against who?
The shepherds of Israel.
Go ahead.
Prophesy, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves.
That do feed themselves, man. That's your so-called pastor right there. These are men who claim to have the Word of God, who claim to know the Bible, but yet do not teach nothing that is inside that Bible.
Right.
You understand? The Bible speaks about separation. The Bible speaks about God loving a specific people, but they don't teach that in the Christian church. You understand? God loves only one people.
Right.
The Bible teaches to keep all the law, statutes, and commandments. What does your pastor say? Does your pastor teach you to keep all the commandments, or does he teach you that the law is done away with? You understand?
Right.
And read it from the top.
Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel.
And Scripture says to prophesy against the shepherds of Israel, and that's what we're doing. That's what we do in the UPK, in classes, on the streets, everywhere we go. We prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Now, who is the shepherds of Israel? What is a shepherd? A shepherd would be a so-called leader. You understand? And God said for his prophets to prophesy against the leaders of Israel. And those are your black politicians, and those are your black pastors. You understand? God said to prophesy them, speak against them, which means to expose them. Let them know what they're saying is a lie and is not the truth. You understand? Keep going.
Prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God unto the shepherds.
Thus saith the Most High against the shepherds. Go ahead.
Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves.
That do feed themselves. Go ahead.
Should not the shepherds feed the flock?
And that's what the shepherds do. That's what our so-called leaders do. They feed off of us. I mean, they feed themselves. You understand? They get rich off of our tithes. You understand? Off of our support, off of our own money. They take our money and never give it back to our community.
Right.
You understand? That money that they take from us never goes back to the ghetto. But yet it goes to them, and they're rolling in a benzo, rolling in the mansions, and they're living the American dream,
right,
while we're suffering and dying in the ghetto. That what the brother was just saying, that we work 8-hour shifts, 9-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts. You understand? And we don't enjoy America. You understand? We don't live the lives they live, man. We live. Well, what does it say in Exodus? Man, what does it say? We our lives were burdened. Remember of anxious of spirit. Is that what it says? Salakia. I think that's what it says. You know what I mean? We're vexed. If you're black and Hispanic, man, you live a vexed life. You're stressed out. You know what I mean? You're stressed out. You mad as hell most of the day. You know what I mean? You have no rest. You know what I mean? But your pastor who's taking your money, he's living the life. He's living the American dream. He has riches. He has wealth. He's living on the hills. You know what I mean? He's living that life. And that's why God said to prophesy against them. Right. Prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Let them know that they're a bunch of sellouts and that they don't represent God and they're a bunch of false prophets. Right. You understand? Keep going. Is there any more in that?
Come on, sir.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. Ye eat the fat, and ye clothe you with the wool.
Mm-hmm.
You kill them that are fed, but ye feed not the flock.
And ye feed not the flock. They feed themselves, but they don't feed the people.
Right.
You understand? In the UPK, our lives are dedicated to the people. You understand? Our lives are dedicated to those black and Hispanic people that nobody gives a damn about.
Right.
Those regular brothers that work at 9 to 5 or 5 to 9. You know what I mean? Those Hispanics that are working those constructions. Those Hispanics that work those restaurants. You know what I mean? Them brothers on the street. Our lives are dedicated to them and saving their lives. You understand? We risk our own lives to save theirs. Name me a group of people that would do that. Name me a group of brothers that would risk their lives for people that nobody cares about. You can't find them but in the UPK. You understand? Our lives are dedicated to them poor brothers, those gangbangers, you know what I mean? All those people that Donald Trump hates. We sacrifice our own lives to bring them into the truth and so they can change their lives. You understand? Go ahead, Oscar.
I got a precept, another one if I could, sir.
Go ahead.
Matthew 25, verse 34.
Go ahead.
Through 40. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat.
Right.
I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.
Come on. That's that brotherhood breakdown right there, right?
Come on, sir.
So he said, we're going to inherit, he said, come, inherit the kingdom of heaven, right?
Come.
Because you fed me, right? Because you visited me in jail. Because you gave me a home. You gave me clothes. And that's what we're doing for them brothers out there. Right. We're visiting them brothers in prison, right? We're feeding the poor. We're giving them clothes. You understand? We're actually looking out for the poor black and Hispanic people. You understand? And because of it, you're going to get a reward. Right. The Lord said, come inherit the kingdom of heaven. You go inherit the kingdom of heaven just by looking out for your own brothers. That's the whole milk of it.
Right.
Just by looking out for your own people, looking out for those black and Hispanic people that everybody hates, the Lord said, come inherit the kingdom of heaven, man. You understand? Come in rulership. Come sit on the throne. Come get your kingdom. And that's all we got to do. Is just separate from the white man and just look out for one another and love one another, man. Just like what Christ said.
Right.
You understand? How hard is that? You know why it's real hard? Because we love America and we love white supremacy and we love Christianity. That's the reason why it's so hard for us to come together. Because we just stuck in America. We stuck in Christianity and we can't let it go. You understand? We can't let go of that weed and we can't let go of drugs and we can't let go of whores. You understand? And because of it, we're always going to be destroyed as a people, man. You understand? We got to learn to let all that go, push that behind, and come into the truth. You understand? What's good? You good now?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm good.
Can we read it again? I'll read it again.
You want me to keep reading or?
Oh, keep going. Is there more on that?
Come on, sir.
Go ahead.
Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee and hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee?
Right.
Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee?
Right.
Verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say to you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren.
Say it again. That's the important part. Go ahead. Read again. Just that part.
Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the one of the least of these my brethren.
As much as you have done it to one of the least of my brethren. Go ahead.
You have done it unto me.
You have done it unto who?
Unto me.
Unto who?
Unto me.
You have done it to Christ.
Right.
So when we look out for one another, when a black man looks out for a Hispanic man, and when a Hispanic man looks out for another black man, when we love each other, when we feed each other, when we give them shelter, we give them comfort, you know what I mean? When we look out for each other, we're not just looking out for each other. We're doing it for Christ. You understand? You're looking out for Christ. When you feed another brother, you're feeding Christ.
Right.
When you give that brother water, you're giving Christ water.
Right.
When you visit that brother in prison, you're visiting Christ. You understand? That's the whole milk of it. That's brotherhood right there. And that's what Christ is saying. Look out for one another. If you're looking out for each other, you're looking out for me. If you don't look out for each other, you're not looking out for me.
God.
If you're not feeding that brother, you're not feeding me. If you're not giving him water, you're not giving me water.
God.
You understand? It's real simple. That's the way Christ is breaking it down so we understand and so we can do it for each other. So we're not just saying, oh yeah, I love Christ. You know, I do this, this, and that. If you ain't doing it to your brother, man, you ain't doing nothing for doing nothing for Christ. You really don't love Christ. Go ahead. You got more on that?
It goes into the wicked now if you want to get that part.
Go ahead.
Verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Go ahead.
For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat.
Go ahead.
I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink.
Want me to go to 45?
No, that's it. You understand? And that's what Christ is saying this. What is he saying? If you're not looking out for your brothers, he said, he prepared what? He prepared hellfire for you. Right? Is that what it said?
Everlasting fire.
Everlasting fire, man. So meaning what? If you don't give a damn about black and Hispanic people, you can't look out for another brother, man. He got hellfire for you.
Right.
He got everlasting fire for you if you don't give a damn about your own people. And you want to be a traitor, you want to be a sellout, and you want to love white people, no sweat. Here's everlasting fire.
Right.
So says Christ. You understand?
Right.
I ain't trying to go in that hellfire. I ain't trying to go in the everlasting fire. I want life. I want the kingdom of heaven. I want to rule within 12 tribes of Israel. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go visit that brother in prison. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go look out for them brothers. I'm going to look out for them brothers in those detention centers.
Right.
Those paisas that I see, I'm going to hand them brothers a flyer.
Damn right.
You know what I mean?
Damn
Them
right.
paisas working at them restaurants and construction, man, I'm going to look out for them. If I can buy them a drink, if I can buy them a beer, I'm going to buy them a beer.
Damn
you know
right.
What I mean? I'm going to let them know that they're the 12 tribes of Israel and they're special to the Most High, man.
Damn right.
You understand? Go ahead.
People don't understand the connection that we have when you come into the Isupk and you realize who the black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian are. You don't realize the connection that you have with the race of people that have always been your brothers and sisters. You don't realize the connection that you have, that automatically when you begin to speak about the things we speak about, how that black man is going to react and understand that you know what he knows. How that Native American Indian man is going to react and understand that you feel what he feels. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you begin to conversate with your brother about the situation of oppression, you begin to realize that you all the same people, that you all are one, and that the same nonsense that has happened to you has happened to them. And once again, like I said before, we've always known that. A Mexican, Native American Indian, and Central American have always helped the black man in his time of need. You know what I'm saying? Today what happens is the ignorant children that are coming up from these people have chosen to take on the ways of the white man and have chosen to continue the hatred between each other. But if you look through the thin line, you'll understand that the thing that we all have in common that brings us together is that we've all been oppressed by the same monster. You know what I'm saying? And that learning about your oppressor, you begin to understand, you know, how you are all one nation of people. Man, they've done that to me, they've done that to you, they've done that to all of us. How can we not be like, if you're in a cage and one person keeps doing that to you, the people that are in the cage with you will become your friends. You know what I'm saying? They'll understand that you're not my enemy. My enemy is that one that's out there. That's my enemy. That one that decided that I wasn't worthy enough to take a piss in their bathroom. That I wasn't worthy enough to live in his community. That I wasn't worthy enough to be able to hold a job just like they held the job. You know what I'm saying? What happens with us is that we choose sides, and the side that we've been choosing is the side of our oppressor. Man, this is a new age. This is an awakening at an appointed time. This appointed time is the time that has been designated for us to understand that Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, we all have the same oppressor. Let me tell you something. Your grandma knew it. Your mom knew it. Your great grandma knew it. You know that cholo in the street that gets jumped in. He knows that it's okay. I'm gonna die for my gang, but anyways, the Lord's gonna forgive me. He's got the Virgin Mary tattooed on his chest or on his arm. He wears this cross. He prays when he goes out to do his drive-by shooting or whatever it is he's gonna do. He prays to some saint before he goes and deals drugs. You know, they know one thing that we all know, that the Lord is with us. But you know what? They fail to understand that the Lord does not agree with the way you live or your lifestyle. If you're a homosexual, the Lord, you may believe in the Lord may be part of you, but he does not agree with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? The Lord loves Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, but he hates the way of life that we're living. Today, what happens with a lot of Hispanic people is that as throughout all the centuries, they have ways to describe you. They used to call you a wetback. They used to call you a greaser. They call you an immigrant. They used to call you a Chicano. They used to call you a Cholo. They used to call you all kinds of things. Today, the new name for Hispanic people is Latinx. Latinx is the new name for Hispanic people. Today they're calling you Latinx. You see it all over the place. If you're Chicano or Hispanic or Mexican, you see this Latinx appearing everywhere. The problem is that once again they're teaching this to your children, Latinx. But you know what? Our people are not understanding what it's all about. Like everything. That's why we side with them, because we believe all the nonsense they're telling us. But when you come into the truth and you begin to realize what's happening, you begin to decipher what's going on, right? And when you begin to decipher what's going on, you realize that all this name calling, all this thing they're telling us, all these names they're giving us is a bunch of nonsense. And what they're telling us goes against our most deepest belief. The word Latinx means non-binary. The X means you're neither male nor female. And the people that came up with that whole thing of Latinx are the LGBT, the lesbian, gay, transsexual, and bisexual, and now pedophile community. They come up with these names, and they're giving you these names. And soon your children are going to grow up saying, I'm Latinx. Oh yeah, I'm Latinx, Dad. Right. Or I'm Latinx, Mom. But you don't understand that this Latinx that's making it sound so great, so fantastic, is really a game that the lesbian and gay and transsexual and bisexual community is playing with the Latin American people.
Right. Right.
They're toying with us. They're trying to manipulate the minds of the next generation to think that they're non-binary, that they're not male nor female. Don't categorize me as male. Don't categorize me as female. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get you to bend to their needs, to the lesbian and the gay and the transsexual and the bisexual community. They're trying to get you to bend to what they want. They're the ones pushing this issue. They're the ones being offended because you calling them man, or because you're calling them woman, and they don't want to be called that. Let me tell you something. We're soldiers. Our children were soldiers before the LGBT. Our children were warriors before the LGBT. We were men before the LGBT. We were women. They were women before the LGBT. And we cannot allow the mentality of America to manipulate our people and make them think that there's something, or that something is right, that's completely wrong and that goes against what we believe in, the Bible. And if you say, well, the Bible, you know what? Those LGBT, they even believe in God. They even believe in the Bible. They'll tell you, oh, no, you know what? God loves everybody. God don't love everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? God is not here for everybody. If you don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, you ain't part of the Lord's, of the promise of the Lord. Period. That's the way it works. It's not for everybody. It's for those that keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's who it's for. It's for us, the children of Israel. That's who it's for. So this whole Latinx, this whole, non-binary, that's a lie that's being perpetrated into the Chicano, the Latin American, the Hispanic people. And you know what? We're here in the ISUPK. We've come forward to let you know that we are not part of any society or any kind of manipulation or any kind of ideal that goes against that the Lord has bring forward. And that is that Black, Hispanic, Native American, Indian are God's chosen people. And we are beyond everybody else. So we're letting you know that right here in this truth, we will not support any of that Chicano or Latinx or none of that nonsense. We are the Lord's people. And we're here to bring the truth to the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. Why? Because we're the oppressed. We're those that have been robbed, raped, and murdered. We're those that have found a way out, and that is the ISUPK. So we're inviting everybody, man. We're here in the ISUPK. We're here in the Inconvenient Truth every Wednesday. And we're here to bring the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian to the truth, that they might be saved. That you may not die in the streets by a police officer. That you may not die in the streets on drugs. That you may not find yourself out there homeless. That you might not find yourself out there struggling with the world, with a place known as Babylon, man, America. A place that has destroyed Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians for 500 years. We ain't part of that society. We're the real man. We stand up, man, and this is the new revolution. The revolution that's calling Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians to come out of the mentality of America and not support these people. Don't vote. Don't go out there and become a police officer. Don't go out there and join their armies. Don't become part of the society. Become part of the army's people. The Lord's army. That's who you should join. That's the people that you should be side by side with. The Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. Man, we're the ISUPK. We're coming out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York City. This is the Inconvenient Truth. You can log on to us every Wednesday about 7 to 7:30. CHAAZAQ, Inconvenient Truth, ISUPK California. Look us up, isupk.com. We're here every week, man, and we're out speaking truth, man. We do not hold back. This is a new revolution. This is a revolution of truth. This is a revolution for Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. This is a revolution where we'll learn to separate from our oppressor, from those who've learned to hate and oppress us. We're those who will not take anything else. We won't deal with people who think we should all love everybody. Man, we loved everybody. We went to war and died for this country, and we still came back to be oppressed. There ain't no love in that. Join us every week right here, ISUPK California, The Inconvenient Truth. This is the show, the ISUPK, man, Inconvenient Truth. And every Wednesday, join us, man. If not, log on, hit us up, drop in your questions. We'll make sure to get back at you. Man, definitely log in ISUPK YouTube, and definitely Inconvenient Truth, and subscribe. We're here every week. Man, the water to everybody who joined us.